Welcome to Behind the Veil Truth. In the following case, I delve into the chilling saga of Luis Alfredo Garavito Cubillos, Colombia's infamous La Bestia, the Beast, whose reign of terror from 1992 to 1999 left a trail of unimaginable horror. With 147 confirmed victims, possibly over 300, Garavito holds the grim distinction of being one of the world's most prolific serial killers. His sadistic spree, targeting vulnerable boys in Colombia's poorest corners, reveals a predator of calculated cruelty, driven by a toxic blend of psychopathy and narcissism. We will look into this case through the eyes of a forensic psychiatrist, forensic psychologist, and a behavioral psychologist. This narrative, rich with psychological insight, paints a vivid picture of a man who masqueraded as a savior while embodying a monster, set against the backdrop of a society that failed its most defenseless. Prepare to be drawn into a story as captivating as it is horrifying, exploring the mind of a killer whose calm confessions and controversial release continue to haunt. The making of a monster. Garavito's early life. Born on January 25, 1957 in Genova, Quindío, Colombia, Luis Garavito's childhood was a crucible of trauma that forged his later depravity. The eldest of 7 children in a poor family, he grew up in a volatile environment marked by poverty and violence. His father, a laborer, was emotionally distant, while Garavito endured physical and sexual abuse from multiple adults, including a neighbor and family acquaintances. As a forensic psychiatrist, I see these early traumas as critical. Repeated abuse can desensitize a child to violence, fostering rage and a distorted need for control. By age 12, Garavito was displaying behavioral red flags, running away from home, engaging in petty theft, and showing signs of sexual deviance, possibly reinforced through operant conditioning as he sought power in a world that brutalized him. As a young adult, Garavito drifted through Colombia, Ecuador, and Venezuela, working low-skill jobs as a street vendor, handyman, and occasional farm laborer. His unassuming appearance, small stature, soft-spoken demeanor, and nondescript features belied a growing darkness. Alcoholism and depression plagued him, yet he developed a chilling ability to blend into communities, adopting disguises like priest, monk, or charity worker. From a behavioral psychology perspective, this adaptability suggests a learned skill. Garavito honed his manipulative charm, exploiting societal trust to mask his predatory intent. Unlike Bruno Ludke, whose alleged crimes are clouded by coerced confessions and cognitive deficits, Garavito's actions were deliberate, reflecting a high-functioning predator shaped by trauma but driven by choice. The killing spree, a predator's reign. From 1992 to 1999, Garavito unleashed a campaign of terror across at least 11 Colombian departments, targeting boys aged 6 to 16, often street children or those from impoverished families. His modus operandi was chillingly methodical. Posing as a benevolent figure, a priest offering salvation, a teacher promising education, or a charity worker with gifts, he lured his victims to secluded fields, forests, or abandoned lots. There, he subjected them to prolonged torture, including rape, mutilation, and throat slashing, before disposing of their bodies in mass graves or underbrush. His confirmed victim count of 147, with estimates exceeding 300, dwarfs even the most notorious killers, surpassing Joachim Kroll's 14 confirmed murders and Bruno Ludke's contested 80+. Garavito's crimes were marked by a sadistic ritualism. He often bound his victims, tortured them over hours, and kept trophies like shoes or clothing, a hallmark of serial killers seeking to relive their dominance. As a forensic psychologist, I note his organized killer profile. His planning, mobility across regions, and ability to evade capture reflect high executive functioning. Unlike Ludke's alleged impulsivity or Kroll's opportunistic attacks, Garavito's choice of marginalized victims, street children unlikely to be missed, exploited Colombia's socioeconomic chaos during the 1990s, a period of guerrilla warfare and institutional neglect. This mirrors the societal blind spots that enabled Kroll in post-war Germany, but Garavito's scale and cunning set him apart. Key incidents underscore his depravity. In 1997, authorities discovered mass graves in Pereira containing dozens of boys' remains, many showing signs of prolonged torture. Garavito's ability to operate undetected for 7 years despite such carnage points to a chilling blend of intelligence and psychopathy. His calm, almost mechanical confessions later revealed a man who saw his victims as objects, devoid of humanity, a stark contrast to Ludke's questionable confessions, which lacked such detailed, sadistic intent. The arrest, a monster unmasked. Garavito's reign ended on April 22, 1999 in Villavicencio, when he was arrested on suspicion of attempted rape after a boy escaped. Initially detained under an alias Bonifacio Morera Liscano, his true identity unraveled when police linked him to the mass graves through forensic evidence and survivor accounts. Unlike Ludke, whose confessions were coerced under Nazi pressure, Garavito's confessions were voluntary and detailed, mapping out 147 murders across 59 municipalities. He provided sketches and descriptions of crime scenes, chillingly precise, reflecting a mind that relished control even in capture. As a forensic psychiatrist, I see Garavito's confessions as a manifestation of narcissistic sadism. His willingness to recount crimes in detail suggests a need to assert dominance, even over investigators, akin to Ted Bundy's courtroom theatrics, but more subdued. His lack of remorse, describing murders with clinical detachment, aligns with a high PCLR score, 25/30, indicating psychopathy marked by callousness, manipulativeness, and thrill-seeking. Unlike Ludka, whose low cognitive capacity, if guilty, limited planning, Garavito's ability to impersonate authority figures and cover his tracks reflects a calculated predator, not a coerced scapegoat. Psychological profile. The mind of Bestia. Garavito's psychological profile is a chilling study in psychopathy and narcissism, far removed from Ludka's contested impulsivity or Kroll's cognitive simplicity. Using the Hare Psychopathy Checklist Revised, PCLR, I estimate his score at 25/30, placing him in the psychopathic range, European threshold 25+. Key traits include interpersonal, 6-7, 8, glibness, 2, charming disguises, grandiosity, 2, godlike control over life and death, manipulative, 2, lured victims with precision, pathological lying, 1, used aliases, affective, 7-8, 8, lack of remorse, 2, no guilt, shallow affect, 2, faked benevolence, callous, 2, tortured boys, failure to accept responsibility, 1, rationalized as societal fault, lifestyle, 6-8, 10, need for stimulation, 2, thrill of torture, impulsivity, 1, escalated under opportunity, promiscuous behavior, 2, sexual sadism, irresponsibility, 1, drifter lifestyle, antisocial, 5-7, 8, criminal versatility, 2, murder, rape, early problems, 2, childhood deviance, juvenile delinquency, 1, petty theft, no parole violations, 0, not applicable. From a behavioral perspective, Garavito's sadism was conditioned by childhood abuse, which taught him to equate violence with power. His choice of boys as victims may reflect identification with his own victimized younger self, redirecting rage onto proxies. Unlike Kroll's cannibalistic pragmatism or Ludka's alleged disorganized attacks, Garavito's prolonged torture suggests a sadistic paraphilia, where pain inflicted was as crucial as the kill itself. His narcissism, evident in his belief he could outsmart authorities, parallels Bundy's grandiosity but contrasts with Ludka's lack of documented cunning. As a forensic psychologist, I know Garavito's organized killer profile. His disguises, mobility, and trophy-keeping indicate high planning and control, unlike Ludka's speculative, disorganized crimes. His psychopathy enabled sustained predation, exploiting Colombia's marginalized communities, while his narcissism drove a need to be seen as untouchable, even in confession. This contrasts sharply with Ludka's vulnerability to coercion and lack of forensic evidence. Trial, release, and legacy, a nation's outrage. In 2000, Garavito was convicted of 138 murders, receiving an 835-year sentence, the longest in Colombian history. However, Colombia's legal system capped sentences at 40 years, and good behavior credits reduced his term further. Shockingly, he was released in 2021 after serving just 22 years due to cooperation with authorities and prison reforms. His release sparked national outrage, with families of victims and activists decrying a justice system that failed to protect the vulnerable. Garavito died in 2023, reportedly of leukemia, but his freedom, however brief, left a scar on Colombia's conscience. His case had profound impacts. It exposed the systemic neglect of street children, who were easy prey in a nation ravaged by poverty and conflict. As a forensic psychiatrist, I see this as a failure of social structures, mirroring the chaos that enabled Kroll in Germany, but on a larger scale. Garavito's spree prompted reforms in child protection laws and police training, though critics argue these came too late. His calm confessions, detailing 172 crime scenes, aided in closing cases but also fueled public fascination, with media portraying him as a real-life Hannibal Lecter. A haunting reflection, Luis Garavito, La Bestia, embodies the ultimate predator, a man who cloaked his sadistic hunger in the guise of a savior, preying on Colombia's forgotten children. His high psychopathy and narcissistic sadism, reflected in a PCLR score of 25/30, set him apart from Ludka's questionable low cognition profile or Kroll's impulsive paraphilias. Garavito's calculated cruelty, exploiting societal trust and chaos, reveals a mind that thrived on control and pain. His story is a grim reminder of how trauma, unchecked pathology, and systemic failures can birth a monster. As a forensic psychologist, I see his legacy as a call to protect the vulnerable and refine profiling to catch such predators before their toll becomes unimaginable. Garavito's shadow lingers, a testament to the darkness that can hide behind a trusted face. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like the video.